Reaching the observation deck over the electride field, I saw the horizons painted artificially to resemble infinite perspectives through the arrangements of receding and concentrating channels of energy matrices. Green and royalsome, the distance was surreal in all directions and undetermined. I saw inward and outward through the weather systems, clashing through the spontaneous chasms of the normal world beyond the library, to the field of green energy within forming the core of the structure. Rotating 180 degrees on the deck, the perspective changed suddenly with an anti-symmetrical symmetry breaking of vision. This was my first clue to what had happened to Lush. This portion of the galaxy is trisected by a standing wave of gravity and relativity field effects, making a 720-degree spin vector of the four normal dimensions. It is an open door to abnormal space-time, and it had intruded here. Lush and I had talked before of the access potential of spin matrices to extra copies of this universe form as probability actualization of macro-structural formalities. It was only a theory. Macro-quantum rotational symmetry breaking may have left the 180-degree trace in the space-time coordinate of a transformational spin matrix to open dimensions and universes. Even now, the residual spin superposition of dimensions is beginning to fade away to leave just a local, normal, four-dimensional appearance of space-time in its variously 11-dimensional or 230-dimensional neo-structure of nominal compressors. Might this universe have tagged sewn through its hypoloop extrusion placed by a higher intelligence? As space-time concentrates with speed of travel near light, speed anisotropically in a symmetry with the Heisenberg uncertainty principle of indeterminacy of knowledge of either energy and time or location and momentum, could the universe have a memory in some way of where each discrete particle and relational loop was in order to sustain the invariance of uniform application of physical laws? Uncertainty in the quantum world seems consistent with fundamental phenomenalities of being and non-being, and of existence and interval in higher, more complex aggregations of matter and energy. Indeterminacy fades away as the complexity of the bound state of quantum particles and mass comprises a formation for itself too complex for superpositioning of simpler structures of the quantum world, such as loops. Perhaps quantum uncertainty is merely an appearance itself, as a consequence of an unawareness or gap in knowledge of what fills the intervals, or of how the underlying force is non-present in such intervals. If quantum superpositioning effects fade out as mass becomes concentrated and complex, and it is certainly a marvel that any complex structures can exist at all and overcome the superpositioning of quantum uncertainty, is it a consequence of conscious perception and memory collapsing the waveform of the universe, or is the large-scale space-time alternation in general relativity a symmetrical clue to spin matrix transformations of galactic-sized chunks of space-time into such superpositioning with spare universes? I believe I may need to discover if this universe has memories or feelings about Lush of a recent kind. Dimensions may be arbitrary constructions contingent upon various configurations of the shape of pre-Big Bang minimal particle conditions. The configuration of a particle wave assembly duplicated in mass produces its own dimensional requirements and conformal logic to its intrinsic structure. A 10-dimensional object requires 10 dimensions of existence. The extension of a dimension is in accord with the characteristic requirements for existence of the particle wave forces within it. The infinite apparent extension of the four-dimensional universe is a product of the forces of infinite extension within. It's such as gravity and electromagnetism. The planet's subductor library subbasement energy field was a trivial example of the exploitation of electrons with their negative charge as opposed to positrons and neutrons. Because photons are the carrier of electromagnetism and gravitons that of gravity, it was a practical field expedient method of reshaping local areas of power intergalactically to confine electrons or photons, graviton, and even weakons within space-dimensional tunneling that would gather the nuclear force as the containment line for the other quarks stripped of associations at larger clustering. Quantum superpositioning could be defeated and energy redirected along the intergalactic nuclear force artery to form n-dimensional calculating engines of change. I had the suspicion that some alien power passing through the infinite sequences of exponential dimensional constructions may have abducted Lush from the library of this subduction world of stone souls. Staring into the green field of electrons, stretching into apparent infinity and warped dimensional wrappings of light, the vortices carried by memories of Lush along with transitioning moments of shapes of past and present ever living as corridors of power flow. I leaned on the alto rail and felt the cold sweat of Lush. A strong hand gripped my shoulder. Sorry to disturb your privacy of mind, Mr. Voivoda. I am the level rep of the corrupt hall of stone souls. I would be glad to purchase yours for 99 tax credits, but you must decide in any event to rest in our stone masonry of perpetual bliss or leave this library energy field level straightway.